Hello, and thanks for watching Proactive New York. NetScientific portfolio company PDS Biotechnology has recently completed a $35 million debt financing. With more on that and what the funds are aimed at, I'm joined by Frank Bedu-Addo. He's president and CEO of PDS Biotechnology. Frank, very good to meet you.
Stephen, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you too.
Thank you. So Frank, before we look at the debt financing, for those of you who are not familiar with the company, tell us more about PDS Biotechnology.
I'll be happy to do that. PDS Biotechnology is a mid-clinical stage company, and we're developing a growing pipeline of immunotherapies targeting cancer and infectious diseases. Now, our Versamune cancer immunotherapy tech platform, ongoing human clinical trials, has demonstrated the potential to overcome some of the most significant obstacles that have prevented immunotherapy from being broadly effective in a higher percentage of patients. So our lead cancer immunotherapy, PDS0101, is being developed to treat HPV-associated cancers. And some of these cancers include cervical cancer, head and neck cancer, anal cancer, vaginal and vulvar cancers. And PDS0101 is currently being studied in 4 ongoing phase 2 human clinical trials. Now, promising data from the 2 most progressed trials have demonstrated early indications of clinical efficacy and improved patient survival as well as safety. And so based upon these early results, PDS0101 has been granted fast track designation by the FDA. Now, our oncology trials are being performed in partnership with some of the most renowned institutions in the field, such as the National Cancer Institute, the Mayo Clinic, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and Merck. And we reported approximately $53 million in cash at the end of June. And Stephen, as you just mentioned, we raised an additional $25 million plus an option for additional $10 million in venture debt financing last month. We evaluated a number of options that were available to us, and this approach allowed us to bring in capital with minimal dilution to our shareholders. And we also believe it allows us to mitigate risk to shareholders just based on the current market volatility and uncertainty. So this capital now available to us allows the company the resources, right, to advance the company's clinical pipeline and to achieve multiple important milestones across both our oncology and our infectious disease programs.
So you mentioned the fast track status for PDS0101. Take us through some of your other programs as well, Frank, that these funds will be applied to.
Sure. There is, as I mentioned, a growing pipeline of products. In oncology, for example, we have PDS0102. PDS0102 is specifically being developed to treat cancers that contain a specific cancer-associated protein called, or abbreviated as TARP. This protein is found in cancers like prostate cancer, breast cancer, and acute myeloid leukemia. And so PDS0102 has successfully gone through our preclinical development program and is ready to move into human clinical trials. PDS0103 is another oncology product in our pipeline that we're developing, and this is being developed to treat cancers that contain another cancer-associated protein called MUC1 or MUC1, right? And some of the cancers that contain this protein, for example, include colon cancer and non-small cell lung cancer, breast cancers, and again, ovarian cancer. So these are some of the cancers that we are going to be targeting or addressing with PDS0103. And PDS0103 has also successfully gone through preclinical development and is ready to go into human clinical trials. With infectious diseases, we also have a very interesting program in infectious diseases, which is being developed as a universal influenza vaccine. So this is a vaccine that will be potentially effective against multiple strains of influenza. So as you know today, due to the existence of multiple strains of flu, a new seasonal flu vaccine has to be developed every year to provide protection against the strains that are predicted to be relevant or prevalent in any upcoming flu season, right? So as a result of this, the protective efficacy of a flu vaccine varies significantly from season to season. All right, that's one of the key limitations we have with the current flu vaccines. At PDS Biotechnology, we are developing a new generation of flu vaccines that are designed to provide long-lasting and broad protection against multiple strains of the flu virus, right? And the preclinical data that has been generated to date has been highly promising and has demonstrated the potential to neutralize multiple strains of the flu. And it's also provided full protection in animal models against lethal strains of the flu virus when these animals are challenged with those lethal levels of the flu virus. So this is also another very interesting program that's being developed within PDS. And hopefully we will be able to progress this also into human clinical trials in the near future. And the early work that has been done with the universal influenza vaccine has been funded by the NIH's National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
Frank, NetScientific was an early investor in PDS. Take us through your relationship and how they've supported you both before and after your listing.
So we have had a really long relationship with NetScientific, and the relationship with NetScientific actually started before PDS became a publicly traded company. So NetScientific invested in PDS for the first time in 2014, and when we're private, about 5 years before we became a publicly traded company, and have been a really strong supporter of PDS Biotechnology across throughout this period. When we became a publicly traded company, NetScientific continued to invest in PDS and has continued to support the company. NetScientific is actually represented on the company's board of directors. And so NetScientific is a very valued partner to PDS. And based upon NetScientific's role on our board of directors, is also involved with some of the governmental decisions and some of the internal decisions that PDS makes as a company. So a very valued shareholder and partner to PDS over a significant period of time.
Well, Frank, I hope you'll keep us posted on any developments in your pipeline, but thank you very much for the introduction today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure discussing PDS Biotechnology. Thank you very much.
Frank Bedu-Addo is the president and the CEO of PDS Biotechnology.